thanks for the introduction, Steve. I'm now going to take everyone through a kind of whirlwind tour of what's possible with Alloy and how it can help, maintain service continuity during these difficult times and resilience, and get us through this period and also prepare us for the future. So to start with, as Steve mentioned, it's a web-based application, so you just need a web address and a modern browser and you're away. And then you're going to log into the system, and you've got a range of ways of doing that. So if you want to just do email and password, you can, but you've also got the facility to use single sign-on as well. So I use my Microsoft credentials. You can see here I've got this kind of landing page with a wide range of systems that I can log into. Most local authorities would just go straight into their own system, but if you are working on multiple contracts, you might end up with some sort of similar landing page where you can sort of access each individual contract and work through what you need to work through. So we've come into the system now, and I'm going to give you a quick orientation of what you can see, and then we'll start working through some examples of how we can help. So to start with, you've got a map in the center, nice large map in the center, and the interaction with that map you will already know and understand. So drag and pan around, roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. If it's on a touchscreen device, you can pinch zoom, you can swipe with your finger. So, the interactions are already understood. You can already start using this piece of software. The left-hand side has all of these dashboard cards presented, and they give you summary statistics about the performance of your assets and your services. And these statistics update as things change. On top of that, you can actually create your own dashboard cards. So you can sort of set the system up so that it's giving you the information that you need to understand your asset and service performance and manage it in an optimal way. It's information at your fingertips, essentially. And these cards sort of serve a dual purpose. Not only are they giving you these dashboard stats, but behind them, you can actually set up functions. So if we come into the activities card, from here, we can create defects, inspections and jobs. We can look at team management, project management, assigning tasks, team pricing, and so on and so forth. So, these are almost kind of little module cards that you can configure within the system to give you information and carry out functions. The right-hand side of the screen, this is all far more to do with viewing your assets, your services, and your management information in more detail, and also understanding the environment within which your assets and services are operating. So if we start with that point, the environment, if we look at base maps, within Alloy, you can pull in a huge range of base maps because we use web mapping services. So, all you need is the web address to a specific base map, and you can pull that base map in. I've got quite a range in here, but this isn't exhaustive what I'm showing you now. So, I've got satellite imagery, I've got a Google base map, OpenStreetMaps. We've got sort of simpler base maps as well that we can bring in. That one's a bit. So this is sort of Skyward base map, or back to the base map I was using before. So you've got a range of base maps that you can pull in to give different context to your assets and your services. And then if you actually want to interact with your spatial information, whether that be about your assets, your services, or management of those, you just come to the layers icon here. And what I'll do is I'll just give you a quick flavor of the types of assets and services that we can manage within the system. So I'll turn on carriageways. Maybe we can turn on some car parks, commercial property, grounds assets, arboreal assets, gullies, highway assets, road signs, street lighting, traffic signals. Just to give you a kind of flavor of the flexibility of Alloy. Again, that list of assets that I've turned on is by no means exhaustive. We built the system to be incredibly flexible. It works on the fundamental principles of asset management and service delivery to give you a flexible framework to, create and manage a whole wealth of things within the system. And we'll cover off how that all works a little bit later. Now, I'd love to talk to you about all of this stuff, but given the time and the focus of this presentation, I'll turn off a few of these layers and we'll just focus on the grounds, cleansing, waste, and arboreal elements. So put some of these off. There we go. And I've just shown you a range of asset and service types. And actually, as I say, it wasn't exhaustive because I haven't shown you an example of waste yet. But what's also quite nice is that we can visualize our asset and service information in lots of different ways. You can visualize it based on any information that you hold in the system, essentially. So currently, we've got these arboreal assets just represented as a green icon with a tree. But perhaps I want to view my arboreal assets in a slightly different way. Maybe I want to view it by tree maturity. And you can see I've turned that layer on now, and I've got all these different styles here. And it's all dynamic. So if I want to turn off some styles, I can just turn them off and the map updates. So you've got this kind of spatial filtering within the system as well. And this works in tandem with great spatial selection tools. So I can sort of draw polygons around things that I'm interested in, and then maybe open the list view of those and create some actions against them, whether that be, creating jobs, inspections, and so on and so forth. So you've got a really sort of flexible and interactive system that you can play with here. Let's say we want to see the trees in a different way, so based on physiological condition. Again, this is information we hold against the assets, so we can display it. And again, this stuff is dynamic, so you can turn styles on and off and then interact with them. So the beauty of this is you can create as many of these views as you like within Alloy. So you can really ensure that you've got these views available to you to help you understand your asset performance and service performance. And the other thing to point out about these layers is they're dynamic. They actually update when things change. So if we did another assessment of our assets and a few more were identified as having a poor physiological condition, as that information is captured and updated, these layers, this particular layer could actually update to reflect that. So it's all about providing information promptly to you so that you understand what's happening, make informed decisions about how to manage things. So we've looked at kind of layers of information and lots of different assets and services. If you want to actually understand more about a specific asset or service type, you can just select on it. And then this right-hand information panel appears, and you can see all the attribute information associated with it. So the description, it's a grassed area, it's got an expenditure code linked to it, and so on. We can also very easily from this area access all of the history of the asset, any sort of open defects, inspections, and jobs, and also create new defects, inspections, and jobs from this location as well. So let's go to the defects area. You can see here we've got a reported service request for overgrown grass, and we've got a remedied service request for a dead animal that's been found in the area. So we can look at this one and see what happened. So we've got the location appearing in the map. You can see all the information associated with that. And because it's remedied, there'll be a job that was carried out to actually rectify this. So we can link to jobs. And here's the job information that was carried out. And if there are any photographs or anything taken, I'm sure you want to, but if you had any of that sort of evidence, that can all be sort of attached to any of the sort of data items that you're interacting with. Now, if I want to get back from this job to the asset, I just simply go to Parents, and I can select the asset. But you'll also notice I can select the defect. So this job has two parents, and we use parent-child relationships throughout Alloy to allow us to easily link information together and easily sort of navigate between different data items, and you'll see more and more of that as we go through this. So I'm not going to go back to the defect or the service request. I'm going to go back to the asset itself, and it's that simple to do. So let's have a look at another asset. We've got an arboreal asset here. We've got an image that's presented, all the attribute information again on this right-hand interactive menu. And again, if I want to look at any of the inspection, defect, or job history, it's really easy to do. There we go. So we've got a couple of tree health surveys here. You can see when they were completed and so on. Select one of those and see the information. And again, I can just hook back to the asset through the parent-child relationship. What we can also do with any asset is componentize it into parts, so sort of link it to other asset components. And you might wonder why you do that with a tree. But you might have bat boxes on the tree, or bird boxes, sensors, or tree preservation orders. So it's really easy with an Alloy to actually create these component relationships and give you more sort of dexterity to manage your asset information and your service information. And if I want to see specifically, the information associated with this particular bat box, I can just click on it, and it brings up that information. You can see the image of it as well. And then we can get back to the tree. I could do the same with the bird box, the tree lean sensor, and the TPO, tree preservation order. Again, that's just attached to the tree. Now, obviously, I've shown you some parent-child relationships there. We've got the tree, and then these components are also children of the tree. But the tree itself can be the child of something else. So the tree is in Jefferson Gardens, which is a park. So if I go to parents from the tree, I can jump up to Jefferson Gardens. And you can see there's actually 35 assets that are linked to Jefferson Gardens. So that would be grass areas, trees, flower beds, and so on and so forth. So this use of parent-child relationships allows us to build a range of systems within Alloy, across multiple service areas that can reflect the complexity of the real world. And